Hi there, welcome to part 1 in our CB Agent Tools orientation series. Now we're going to cover how to add a reservation. So start by going to Bookings and then clicking Add Reservation. And the first thing you'll be presented with is an option to go ahead and upload an agent confirmation. If you have one with any of these vendors and you've downloaded that PDF confirmation onto your desktop, you can click this and navigate to it and import the information from it right into the system and avoid having to type it in. It's really handy for things like making sure you get confirmation numbers right, and it can save you obviously a lot of time as well from having to transcribe everything. But we're going to go ahead and do it the long way right now. So we're going to click skip here, which is probably what you'll do most of the time. Now, the first thing you're presented with is the contact, and we want to know who should we contact with questions, billing emergencies regarding this trip. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be someone going in the booking you're about to enter. It's just who we're supposed to contact for billing, questions, and emergencies. Literally those things. So it could be somebody who's not going at all. It could be someone in another reservation, another cabin, let's say. It doesn't have to be somebody in this reservation. It's just if our customer service department needs to contact somebody, who should that person be? And you start by typing the last name, really important. And you'll see why. As I type, we have a handy little autocomplete here for you. And if we didn't have that, if we had you do the first name, you'd obviously get a lot of matches down here. So let's go ahead and we have an array of options here. Now, obviously, we only have one for this particular name. If you didn't see the person you were looking for, you can click here and add new, and you'll be presented with this dialog to go ahead and add somebody entirely different. We're going to go ahead and take the autocomplete option. You'll see when I go back to this screen, the autocomplete option removes itself. So just go ahead and type it in what you need to type in again, and it'll pop up over here. So we're going to go ahead and click this, and you can see we've chosen that person now. And we have some options. We can continue on, but we can also change this to someone else or edit this person's detail. And I just want to clarify that. If you click edit, you're going to be editing this individual. So let's say you typed their name in wrong. You can go ahead and click edit and edit this person's name without having to go back to clients and look this person up and changing it there. If you want to pick somebody else, if you picked this person in error, you want to click change. Make sure you don't click edit, because if you click edit, you're going to be changing this actual record. So if you change this name and address to someone else entirely by using edit, you've actually overwritten that record, and it won't be available to you if you need it again. So we're going to go ahead and click continue. And at this point now we add the passengers. These are the people actually going in this booking. So we'll go ahead and add them. Now, as you type, you get another autocomplete here, which just saves you a bunch of time. So I'm going to go ahead and take one autocomplete option. Now, if there's somebody here that you need to add, so let's say I type in this, right? This person doesn't exist yet. You can add them right in line. Just type in what their information is, click Save Me, and that person's added to the database and to this record all in one shot. We're going to go ahead and click Change, though, because we don't want Jared Smith. We want somebody else. So we'll go ahead and select that. Now, one thing to note here, if you have any unsaved passengers, so you can see I said there's 10 passengers in this booking. If I go ahead and click Continue, you're not going to be able to continue because you have unsaved passengers. We're assuming you are serious that there are 10 people going, and we only have 2 names. So you'll say, please save them or remove them. So we'll go ahead and put this back to 2, so we don't have to click remove on every single one of them. And we'll continue on. Okay, product page. So this is where you tell us the details on what exactly it is they're going on. And the first thing you'll see is the trip type. So cruise, land resort, transportation. Some of these are self-explanatory. And you'll see insurance here. That might seem odd for a primary booking to have insurance, but there are people who buy just a standalone policy, and maybe their trip is booked with somebody else, or it's just a business trip, and so they didn't use a travel agent, but they want to insure it. So that's why you see this here. We're going to go ahead and enter a cruise. Pro tip, if you are in a Dropbox on the internet, you can save a lot of time by typing the letters of the thing you're looking for. So, for example, I'm going to look for Royal Caribbean. I'm going to type Royal real quick, Royal, and you can see we jumped right to Royal Caribbean. And if you want to select that, if you hit the tab key, you've selected it. So that just might make your entries go a little bit quicker. We'll do that one more time here. We'll go ahead and click Cruise, and we'll type ANT for Anthem, and there it is. You'll see me do that a lot. That's why I'm explaining. You won't see my mouse cursor move to something, but okay. So confirmation number. Really important you get this right. You really want to make sure you type out exactly what the vendor has. I recommend copy and pasting, and the reason for this is we use the confirmation number to match our commissions up. So if you don't type the number in exactly as it is shown by the vendor, there's a chance you might not get paid, and until we fix it. So we don't want that to happen to you. So make sure you get that confirmation number right. Again, I recommend copy and pasting if you can, but if you have to manually transcribe it, just make sure you get it right. So I'm going to go ahead and enter a random series of numbers here since we're entering a make-believe booking. And we're going to go ahead and say that the begin date here is October 10th, 2019. Now, this is for the cruise. We're entering this cruise right now. This begin date should be just for this cruise. Even if the trip overall, in this example we're going to enter as we continue through the series, the people are actually going to be leaving on the 8th to go to a pre-hotel stay, not booked with the cruise line. But we don't want to put that in here because we're going to do that after in the edit trip. So for this Anthem of the Seas, this ship is departing October 10th. That's the date we want to put in there. For itinerary, this is just a free flow field. Just try to put something in there that makes sense. Sorry, my little Windows notifications. Windows 10 can be aggravating with that. Cabin type. So this is generic. I realize there's way more cabin types than this out there. But this is just generic to let your customers know if they have an unobstructed or an obstructed ocean view or balcony suite inside. Cabin number, again, this should come right from your confirmation. Group number, this is really important as well. If this was booked into a group, the group number needs to be typed out here accurately, and that is because many vendors, when they pay commissions, if the booking is in a group, they actually pay the commission to the group number in one lump sum. So if there's 10 bookings in that group, they're going to give me one payment for 10 bookings, even if they're not with the same agent. It doesn't matter, and we need to distribute that to the individual bookings that are in that group. So if it's in a group number, please make sure, again, copy and pasting is best, but if you have to type it, make sure you get it right. And then number of nights, again, this should be right on the confirmation. Okay, pricing. Here's where it gets a little interesting. So there are two different prices. There's the price that the vendor is charging, and then there's the price you gave to the customer. And they're not necessarily the same. If the price you give to the customer is less than what the vendor is charging, then that would be called a discount. If it's more, then that would be called an upcharge. The commission is not the profit on the booking. It's the actual commission that the vendor shows on their confirmation. It may not be the profit. So to make this a little bit more clear, we'll put some numbers in here. And for certain vendors, you'll see we have this little handy hyperlink up here. And if you click it, we'll show you an example of that vendor's confirmation and where to get these numbers color-coded to make it easy. And you can see we have blue and red here, and those match to the blue and red fields here. And you'll notice that green isn't here, and you'll understand why in a second if you haven't figured it out already. So let's use this as an example. So we've got 1120.78 here, goes in the blue box for the total that the vendor is charging. That's the gross price. And the red is showing 121.28 here. Now, this is the price you gave to the customer. So that's why it's not on the confirmation, because the cruise line obviously doesn't know what you gave to the customer. So if we typed 1100 here, you can see it's a discount. It'll say your price is $20.78 lower than the vendor, so the profit has been reduced. So even though the commission is $121.28, the profit is $100.50. So we are showing you all these numbers as you type them in case you get a little confused here. Let's say you knew you were discounting, so you put the profit in, the commission in as $100.50. Well, now the profit's even lower because that's not what belongs in this field. So just pay attention to these numbers as you type, and you'll see you should be able to get right on target with them. So in this scenario, let's say we actually upcharged. Let's say we charge the customer $1,200, even though the cruise line only wants $1,120.78. And you can see here your commission. So this is somebody who's at 50% commission. So it's showing the half of the total profit here. Will update as you change these numbers. Now, I also want to point out at this time that you can go back and change anything as you go along by clicking up here, and it won't interfere with your work in other areas. So we'll go ahead and go to amenities. Now, what are amenities? Amenities, there's an explanation here, and as you can see, it says these are amenities that Royal Caribbean, because that's the vendor in this case, is providing for the price. These aren't things you're paying out of your commission. So the easiest way to demonstrate that is with onboard credit here, right? Because you can buy onboard credit for a customer, but the cruise line can also give onboard credit to a customer. So let's say in this case, Royal Caribbean had a special promotion, and they're giving $50 onboard credit for each cabin that was booked during this time period. So we're going to go ahead and put $50 here, and you can see it says OBC is from the cruise line for cabin, not per person. We never do things per person. To keep it simple, it's always per cabin. Now let's say there was another promotion here where prepaid gratuities were included in the price. So we'll select that for the two people. Now this is just what's included in this price. So if the customers added beverage packages and paid for them, and you got that in this price, then you can go ahead and click this and add that too. So it's just for the price they're paying, what's included. What's included from the vendor that's not coming out of your commission. That's what all of this stuff is. Okay, gifts. Now these are things coming from your commission. So the way gifts work is you add them in here, and then our accounting team is responsible for purchasing them. And Cruise Brothers pays half the commission to it, and so do you. So we're both sharing the cost of the gift. But there is a cost associated with it. So let's say in this example, we want to buy our customer a $25 onboard credit. That's in addition to the $50 Royal Caribbean's already giving them. So they'll have a total of $75 on the cabin. So we'll go ahead and add a gift. And the types of gift that are available to you will depend on the vendor. Some vendors, there won't be gifts at all available to them either because we don't have a way to purchase them. They don't offer them, or due to other restrictions, it's just not possible to buy gifts with them. In Royal Caribbean's case, there's wine available, and there's onboard credit. So the wine, we already know the cost, so it will tell you this is what the gift costs if you want to buy red wine. If you want to purchase an OBC, you get to define the amount. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and buy a $25 onboard credit. And when you click save, and you need to click save, if you click continue here, this will be removed. So you have to click save. It will tell you this is going to cost you $12.50. Are you sure you want to go ahead? So that's coming out of your commission in this case. And we're going to click yes, and you'll see our commission has actually been modified at this point to reflect that change. Now, if you do this within a month to sailing, the gifts page will not allow you to add a gift because, again, our accounting team has to actually make the purchase, and there will not be enough time to purchase the gift if you do it that close in. So we do need some lead time to purchase these gifts on your behalf. So you may get an error message if you click add gift and it's close in. You're going to see a message that says it's too close in for us to add gifts. Sorry, we'll have to figure out some other way. I'm going to continue, and finally we have payments. So these are pretty self-explanatory, but there is one caveat I want to show you here, and that is payment type. You'll only see two of them. You'll see Future Cruise Certificate, and if you don't know what that is, that's it's similar to a gift card. A customer would purchase a certificate on a cruise they're already on to go on a future one, and in return, the cruise line generally gives them reduced deposits and other goodies, and then when they apply the Future Cruise Certificate, it's applied like a gift card is. So that's what that's for. And then there's credit card, of course, which is when they pay with a credit card. Now, what you won't see here is cash and check because you're not supposed to be taking cash and check from customers. You should never be entering cash and check in here. If you have a check to enter in here, you've already done something wrong. The check should be sent up here to our accounting team, and then we enter checks into the system. And the same goes cash. If, let's say, one of your customers comes into our storefront and pays cash, that would be our accounting team that would handle that, not you, and that's why you don't see those options here. So we'll go ahead and pick credit card. That'll be the most common one. And the payee's name is just going to be something to free flow. We'll do that here. Payment date. Now, as you type in the amount, you'll see the values update as you type them, so you can verify them. So you can make sure that that makes sense. The total payments, if there were more than one payment here, you can make sure those make sense. And all we want is the card type in the last 4 digits. This isn't actually going to, if you type something here, this isn't a payment we're going to make for you. This is you telling us payments you've already made. That's what this screen is for. We'll go ahead and click continue. And then the last thing we get here is just a summary in plain English telling us what this booking is, what it means. And anything you see highlighted in red can be changed without you having to go back. You can go back if you want, but if you don't want to, you can go ahead and make changes right here and save yourself some time. So if we wanted to update the confirmation number, we could. If we wanted to change the amount, so let's say it says the customer owed less or more than what is shown here. If I click more, it will say, well, if they owe more, then that means either the payments need to be changed because you messed them up, or your price is wrong. And so it will allow you to make those changes here. I'm going to click cancel. We don't want to make any changes. If you're satisfied with everything you see here, go ahead and click save. You'll get a little loading wheel. And you should get a success page. Now, if you entered a duplicate at this time, you will get a message saying you can't enter this. We don't allow duplicate confirmation numbers. There should be one booking per confirmation number. So if you get that message, you either typed in the confirmation number wrong and it's not really a duplicate, or you really did just try to enter a duplicate and you shouldn't. And you need to go back to that the reservation because you probably really intended to modify something. You're given the trip ID at this point. That's a reference that you can always use to find this trip. And you can go right to it. And here's the trip we just entered. So if there were an insurance policy, a hotel, or anything like that you wanted to add to this, once you've entered the primary booking, which is the cruise, you can now do that by clicking Add Booking, which we'll cover in the next tutorial.